Hey, what's up and welcome everyone to another Warzone Academy video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the 5 fatal mistakes that players are making at all skill levels that are ruining your chances at a victory in Warzone. Today's video is sponsored by my sleep schedule. Who needs sleep when you have daily uploads? If you're new to the channel, my name is Isaac, or IceManIsaac, and we do in-depth Warzone guides as part of the Warzone Academy series. Now, we've also started up a new Warzone coaching series, where I get your gameplay and we review it together as a community, both live on my Twitch channel and through the YouTube comments. We talk about rotations, we talk about gunfights, and we talk about any little quirk we see in your gameplay that may be preventing future success. Now, the first fatal mistake that people make, and it's the one I see the most often, is it's holding and re-peeking the same angle. Now, in this situation I've set up here, it's you hiding behind a tree and you've got an enemy that's behind some sort of waist-high cover. Let's say it's a ridge or one of those little brick planter pots. The specific situation doesn't matter. As with most things in Warzone Academy, you have to be able to take these skills and the fundamental knowledge and tactics and cross-apply them to multiple different situations. So you need to get out of this gunfight. The mistake that most players make is they continually re-peek the same side. So they'll peek off to the right-hand side, take a couple pot shots, head back, maybe throw in an armor plate, and then peek the exact same side again. What you need to be doing in these situations is throwing off your enemy's aim. When you re-peek the same side and he's already aimed down sight at that exact spot, all he has to do is click the trigger. So at the very least, you need to give him a 50-50 shot. So kind of jiggle peek back and forth, have only your shoulders show, or maybe take a couple shots on left, take a couple shots on the right, but where you really begin to outplay your opponents is when you overcommit to an angle, right? So we have that 50-50 shot based on whether or not you're off to the left or you're off to the right, he might get lucky, but when he's holding those angles so closely on one side of the tree or the other, and you full swing around the other side, he's gonna have to track you, but you already have your momentum going in your favor. Ideally, you can use this technique and swing around to another piece of cover, gradually either making yourself into hard cover yourself, let's say inside of a building, or working an angle on your opponent where you can finish him off. Now, this requires a little bit of gun skill on your side to be able to sprint in one direction and snap over and aim at the other, but it's very easy to practice. You can practice against bots, you can practice against a tree or the side of the wall. It's a skill you need to learn to develop if you're going to be a serious Warzone player. I provided 2 examples of this happening, and it happens the most with snipers because they hold that edge so closely to where you would peek out. So I like to get their attention, bait out that edge, and then full send around the other side. It's either going to require an amazing flick, which I don't expect them to hit, or they're going to miss and I can fry them down. I trust my aim with my AR. Now, the second fatal mistake I see in Warzone is people are forcing themselves into unnecessary 50-50 gunfights. Meaning they're using, their brawn, they're trying to use their gun skill instead of using their brain. They're just using a whole bunch of brain-dead fights and they end up losing it. I mean, there's stuff like this where you kind of get forced into it. Or maybe there's no other option to take out the enemy, so you just kind of got to go for it. But outside of that, if you don't have to go for these crazy 50-50 gunfights, play smarter. Outsmart your opponents. When it comes to keyboard and mouse versus controller, the ping advantage, the peeker's advantage, the 12 tick rate servers, and then other players just being straight up, insane at the game, you can't rely on winning an entire game of Warzone based off of these 50-50, flip of a coin reaction times. Check out what I do here. I open that door loudly, and then I slow peek this door with dead silence. I knew someone was camping in here, and rather than me just full sending in trying to clear the room as quick as I can, I play it smart, I figure out a plan, and I go in tactically. If you can't go in tactically, go in loud. Explosives are one of the best ways to even out these 50-50 gunfights. Rather than me go in and try to clear that building with a gun, I'm gonna clear it out with my C4. And here, it's almost the exact same scenario. I know where he is, I've cracked his armor, I have the advantage. I'm chasing after him, I'm trying to get that kill, I don't want him to heal. Unfortunately, the worst thing happens, he gets inside and he gets into cover. Now I'm in an awkward position where we're on, neutral ground again. Fortunately, I use my brain and I don't just try to force a play up those stairs where he's waiting for me. I use the splash damage of the RPG and clear it out safely. The third fatal mistake I see players making is they're shooting too soon. Oftentimes there are enemies that are completely unaware of their presence, and yet they give them a warning shot from miles away. Instead, have some patience. Stalk your prey until the perfect moment. if they're near a wall and near some trees, but they're, close to a street that you're expecting them to cross. And if you have increased situational awareness and you know where they have to rotate to the zone, you can kind of expect what their future movements are going to be. Take that moment, be patient. Look at this scenario. I had no idea this guy was here. He could have followed me for an entire, couple minutes until he got the easy moment. But instead, he set himself up to get absolutely embarrassed. So take your time and really do not screw over your buddies. This is something I hate to see in squads. You'll have 3 people playing really tactically, right? They see someone, they're like, hey, wait, everyone hold shots. Let's not do this yet. Let's wait until he's out in the open field and we'll all team shot him together. And then you'll have one bozo on your team who everyone else is like, silently crossing a street or an open field trying to get into tactical position, and he'll shoot and then your entire team will get fried in the open field. Don't do that. Take a breather. It's exciting to find someone that doesn't see you in Warzone. It's potentially a super easy kill, but don't blow it. Now, if you're stalking someone and you feel like you aren't quite in the perfect opportunity to take them out yet, and they turn in your direction, take the shot. So many of these gunfights, like we talked about earlier, are 50-50 fights. Get the advantage early. The 4th fatal mistake I see players making is they don't have a plan for when they get shot. Now, we've all seen this before. Someone will be rotating out of the storm or crossing the street, and the second you go to shoot them, they start doing these little panic circles, or they'll even run back into the gas because they didn't have a plan. There's that old saying, like, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Well, it's the same thing. Like, everyone's got a rotation, everyone's got a strat until they get shot in the back. So, as leaned forward as you are on your plans of how you're going to hunt down the next team or where you're going to, take this next high ground, also be thinking to yourself, in this moment, if I got shot, where am I going to go? This is something you can practice with your squad mates. If you're comfortable, pausing mid-game, like, boys, right now, we get shot. Where do we go? Or just, review your VODs or just be proactive. Be thinking about these things as you're going through your rotations. Because as you saw in that video earlier, I was out in the middle of nowhere with those RPGs. I didn't have a plan that if I got shot from anywhere, I didn't have any cover near me. Same thing with this. I've got 24 kills. I was almost on pace to hit a 30 bomb, and I lose focus. I'm so hungry for kills, I don't have anywhere I can go. I don't have any cover. We're on some decent high ground, but no cover. And that was a fatal mistake that ruined potentially a massive kill game, and you should not make the same mistake yourself. Always have a plan for when you get shot. Now, the 5th and final fatal mistake that I see all too often in Warzone is people get tunnel visioned. And specifically, they get tunnel visioned on thirsting an opponent. Now, sometimes you'll have an opponent that's weak or, you really want to kill someone, but you don't realize the storm is approaching at your back. But the most egregious and the most unnecessary is tunnel visioning just because you want to thirst an opponent. I can't tell you how many times a squad could have completely won the fight, but instead they were too busy focusing on shooting someone who was down instead of the person that was shooting at them or their other teammates. And it can happen in solo too, because you have self-revives. You're focused on taking out that self-revive, and like I did in this scenario, that takes away my time from getting into cover, and I end up getting shot in the side, and I get 2nd place. If you're in a squad, be a solid teammate. Me personally, I would rather lose as an entire squad than continue on for 5 minutes while my teammates watch me. It's just kind of a team player thing. It's a nice thing to do. No one likes to sit there and watch their teammates have fun while they're stuck on the sidelines. I mean, last minute clutches are fine. And keep in mind, this is tunnel vision, so this doesn't mean don't thirst opponents, right? If someone's about to make it around the corner, by all means thirst them, but only if that means you don't jeopardize the entire fight. And all right, guys, that wraps it up. Those are my 5 fatal flaws that I see people making that are costing them the Warzone victory. Are there any that I missed? Let me know down in the comments, and we may do a follow-up video. We may do another 5 fatal flaws, but I see these all too often. These were the most common ones for me. Speaking of common, I get a lot of commonly asked questions in the comments of my video. First, before you ask me a question about what is my loadout or how do I do something, check the Warzone Academy playlist that's linked at the end of this video. If it's not included within there, feel free to comment, give me suggestions for future videos. I want to make Academy tailored to the needs of the community, so feel free to let me. Just make sure to check the playlist first. Also, at the end of this video, we'll have the video that we talked about at the beginning, the new coaching series. That'll have all the instructions for how to join the coaching series if you want your gameplay reviewed. And finally, it wouldn't be a complete YouTube video if I didn't ask you to follow my Twitter. That's where we can talk about what videos we're going to be making next and the status of Warzone. Follow me on Instagram if you want to get to know me a little more personally. And follow me on Twitch if you want to catch this gameplay live, ask me any questions, and review our community coaching videos together. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Warzone Academy, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.